कभी कुछ कहा था जो भी कहा वो किया कभी कुछ कहा था जो भी कहा वो किया और मैंने तुझे कभी कुछ कहा था जो भी कहा वो किया सदा के ये रिश्ते निभाने हैं सदा
मैंने तुझे कभी कुछ कहा था जो भी कहा वो किया
तुझे कभी कुछ कहा था जो भी कहा वो किया
Touch me and make me feel better. Promise that we'll be together. Don't have a nickel or a dime. I will still make you mine. I will love you up and kiss you up until the end of time. I just wanna love you forever.
You're so sweet, my girl. You drive me crazy. I'll do anything for you to be my baby. दुल्हा बनूंगा मैं, बाजा बजेगा, दुल्हन बनेगी तू, मंडप सजेगा.
फिर तो मेरी मांग यूं बढ़ेगा, वो जो भी कहा वो किया. सदा की ये रिश्ते निभाने सदा.
मैंने तुझे कभी कुछ कहा था जो भी कहा वो किया.
Touch me and make me feel better. Promise that we'll be together. Don't have a nickel or a dime. I will still make you mine. I will love you up and kiss you up until the end of time. I just wanna love you forever.
Watch me, I'm shaking. Your body's calling. Cause tonight all these rules will be broken.
फूलों की सींच पे दो दिल मिलेंगे. महकेगी जिंदगी सपने खिलेंगे.
हर दौर में अपना प्यार हंसेगा, जो भी कहा वो किया.
It matters not who you love, where you love, why you love, when you love, or how you love. It matters only that you love. John Lennon. This is Get Real with Shameeza, and I'm your host, Shameeza Ali. It's a pleasure to be here with you this evening. Salam, namaste, and good evening to everyone joining us on Facebook, YouTube, and on Island Zone Radio. Our guests tonight are here to express themselves, to speak up when no one else would, and to represent what they believe in. But first, let's do some giveaways. Our giveaway tonight is compliments of Bidesi Caribbean food specialist serving our community for over 40 years. It is a summer box filled with goodies to make your summer a little bit cooler. Now, here's your chance. Last week we spoke to Cherish. What is the name of her new song that was just released? Again, the question is last week we spoke to Cherish. What is the name of her song that was just released? While you answer that and share the live, we will be right back after these messages.
Flamingo Restaurant and Mantra Lounge. We are NYC's premier Caribbean restaurant and lounge, specializing in authentic West Indian, Chinese, and Caribbean cuisine. Open every day for lunch and late nights. For delivery, find us on Uber Eats, Grubhub, Seamless, and DoorDash. Visit our rooftop lounge upstairs on the weekends for a fun-filled night. We cater and take bookings for private events. Find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Flamingo Mantra. Our address is 120-06 Rockaway Boulevard, telephone 7188351000.
Please welcome my guest tonight, Mohamed Q. Amin. He's the founder and executive director of Caribbean Equality Project. Tiffany Jade Monroe, trans justice coordinator for the Caribbean Equality Project. Olivia Valwaa, community advocate for Caribbean Equality Project. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening, Shameeza. Happy Pride, happy Caribbean American Heritage Month, and also happy
Welcome.
Juneteenth. Everyone celebrating.
I'm so happy that you guys are here. This is actually your fourth year on the Get Real with Shameeza show, and it is truly, truly a pleasure to have you here this evening. Now, a lot is going on this month, a lot of celebration, a lot of advocacy. There's so much for us to talk about, right, tonight. So let's get right to it. Now, um, I know Mo, it's been a year since we had you, right? Like I
Yes.
said, on Get Real with Shameeza, tell us
Yeah.
what Caribbean Equality Project has been up to in
Well,
the
first I
last
want
year.
to yes, first I want to say thank you for having us again this year. It is our fourth year on Get Real with Shamiza, and this year Caribbean Equality Project is celebrating our ninth anniversary. I
Wow,
still can't believe it's been 9 years since we've been
9 years.
launched. And for folks who's not familiar with Caribbean Equality Project, we are a Caribbean LGBTQ immigrants' rights organization based in New York City. We serve New York City's Afro Indo Caribbean LGBTQ immigrant population. And we've been doing this work for the past 9 years. We were founded in 2015, particularly in response to an anti LGBTQ hate violence that took place in 2013, that my partner, my brother, and I survived, and many other community members who were involved. And since then, the last 6 months, I want to say, of 2024 has been really busy for us. We have continued our food justice program. We continue to do our civic engagement work, fighting for political representation and equity in Richmond Hill and South Ozone Park. And also, we have an incredible trans justice program that Tiffany Jed Monroe is going to be talking about later on.
Yeah.
And a lot of our work is really to raise visibility for LGBTQ folks in New York City, but most importantly, do the advocacy work to protect us. Many of our folks are from the Caribbean, places like Guyana, Trinidad and Tobago, Jamaica, Haiti, St. Lucia, all of the Caribbean islands. We represent folks here in New York City. And while folks are sometimes unable to be themselves or find safety in in their home country, when they get to New York, we're here to protect them and welcome them home.
Wow. Wow. Well said. And tonight we look very colorful, right? Colors. I hope we're representing well. But next time I need the memo that I need to be in this uh, attire that you guys are all wearing, which is the, Bollywood attire, I call it, because you guys are so fancy. It's not just Indian wear, it's Bollywood attire. I just love it. Everyone's looking beautiful, and I'm just loving every moment of this. So I think at this point, we have a video mode that we would like to share.
Yes, so it is Pride Month, and at Caribbean Equality Project, we encourage our community members to live pridefully every single day, whether you are openly queer and trans or you are in the shadows, finding your voice, living your truth. And here is a video from our 2024 participation at the recent Queen's Pride Parade.
Today is Pride. Showing up is an act of resistance.
There is no queer liberation, there is no trans liberation without Palestinian liberation.
No pride in genocide! No pride in genocide! We will continue to show up for queer lives, trans lives, Palestinian lives. Happy Queen Pride!
Madness in the capital, so I feel like I'm running tongue again. Jump and shake the ground again. Wave with all my friends and them. No place like home.
Free Palestine! Free Palestine! Free Palestine!
No place like home. No wasting time for way. Just jam on somebody. Hand up in the air. Madness everywhere. It's in with DNA. So get on bad when we on the roadway. We like we own way. Tell them freedom in with DNA. We go jump till the moon come down. It's we start shine on. Play a mass and break away. Freedom in with DNA.
We are back. Beautifully done. Thank you for sharing that with us. Free Palestine, indeed. Great message, and I saw representation from so many different places. I want to thank you guys for making this possible, right? Because without people like Mo and Olivia and Tiffany and so many others, we wouldn't be able to do what we were able to just witness there. I noticed that Saman is in the video and he did an amazing job. So, and I know he's watching as well. So, congratulations, amazing representation. Tiffany, this is I think it's your third time, right?
Yes.
Um, you first participated in 2022, and now you're back, right? I know you've been doing a lot of legislative advocacy to protect trans rights and fight back against anti-LGBTQ and hate, right? Tell us about your important work.
Well, hi everyone. Hi Shameeza. Thank you so much for inviting us
Amazing.
and also for, bringing us to the table so that our voices can be heard. And that's one thing with the Trans Justice Unit. For those of you that don't know, I am Tiffany Jade Monroe. I am the Trans Justice Coordinator for the Trans Justice Unit at Caribbean Equality Project. Just like Shameeza mentioned, I've been doing a lot of work, I will say. You know, I spent a year building connections and partnerships and amazing collaborations with other organizations. And that's one thing that we have to as a community. We have to network. We have to let people know that we are doing this important work so that they could continue to fund this work that we want to do. And I learned that from Mohamed, okay? Now, after doing that whole entire year of networking, I started my work, my groundwork, my hard work. I've been going to Albany, legislative advocacy, just like you mentioned. That's a baby of mine. And I've taken that under my wing, always in Albany. Anyone knows, they'll be like, Tiffany, you again? What are you here for? By now, those most of the electeds know me. So when they see
Right.
Albany, they already know what is the bill we want to support. So doing this legislative advocacy work is something that is really important to me, and important for the unit. We have to continue to push back against these negative and hated these bills, like these bills that spew hate, that spew a lot of negative rhetoric. And something that I want the world to know is that, being a trans woman is not something that miraculously happened. We've always existed, and we've
Right.
been here, and we will continue to fight. And with the Trans Justice Unit, I'm not just doing this for all Black and Brown trans people, but I'm also doing it for some of the members that we have in the organization that are trans, that are undocumented folks here in the USA, that are trying to find their voice. And that's what we do at the unit. We build leaders, and that is a staple for CP. We do a lot of civic engagement work. We do a lot of know your rights workshops and trainings, and a lot of workforce development, because we want community to be ready for this world. And also, we want community to be ready to be able to say, listen, I am a trans woman. I am proud being a trans person. And if you can't accept me, then kudos to you. But I will continue to live my truth and be my true, authentic self for the world.
Wow, well said. Now we do have some. I believe we have something that we want to take a Tiffany. You want to share with us, right? So let's take a look. Wow, that is your work that you're doing.
Yeah, so this was actually in Albany. All of these are in Albany. Look at some of the folks. I love our team. Our team
Yeah.
always show out.
Wow, beautiful. Now, Olivia, this is
Yes.
your first time, right? So welcome to Get Real with
Thank
Shameeza. I
you.
know you're a fellow Guyanese. Tell us about your journey to New York City and your connection to the Caribbean Equality Project.
Hey y'all. First off, thank you so much, Shameeza and Mohamed and Tiffany. Thank y'all so much for inviting me into this space. One of the things about Caribbean Equality Project is that, like Tiffany just said, we create opportunity and create capacity and space for our community members, and I'm a living example for that. So thank you so much. Thank you for having me here. Also, my name is Olivia Valwaa. I'm an Indo-Caribbean transgender woman from Guyana, moving here to the United States in 2017. Um, I was in a box for a long time, moving from such traumatic experience in Guyana, and moving to Richmond Hill, which is Little Guyana, really put me in a box for a long time. I I got really flustered in that box for a long time, and I'm like, you know what? I need to spread my wings. After seeing queer folks like Tiffany and like Mohammed and members of the Caribbean Equality Project thrive, I'm like, you know what? I need to spread these wings, girl. And I reached out to Caribbean Equality Project in 2021, December of 2021, I believe. Yeah. And since then, I've expressed my concern in volunteering because I see how important activism is, our presence is, our visibility is, how important. And I just want to be a part of this movement to make change because there's so much systematic stigma that's still attached to our community that needs to be resolved. And Caribbean Equality Project is a perfect example of removing that hate rhetoric that have been placed on our community for so long.
Wow. Now, a primary election is happening in New York State. Mohammed, can you tell us what's on the ballot and how people can vote? You're muted. We can't hear you. Unmute.
You would think I know how to use this by now, right? Yeah,
Okay.
of course, of
Okay.
course. I want to talk a little bit about, particularly in New York State, we have an election that's happening. And for folks who are registered to vote, if you're eligible, please go out and vote. We are in the early voting period right now. Caribbean Equality Project has a campaign called Mash Up the Vote. And it's our annual campaign to raise awareness about the power of voting and building political power in New York City, particularly for our Caribbean people. And currently, there is a primary happening on Tuesday, June 25th. But you could also go vote right now because early voting is happening right now. And you can vote for different offices that are on the ballot. So as of right now, folks can vote for U.S. Senate representatives. They can vote for U.S. House representatives. They can vote for New York State Assembly representatives and New York State Senate representatives, including judges and party positions. And early voting started on Saturday, June 15th, and it ends on Sunday, June 23rd. And election day is Tuesday, June 25th. So for anyone that is eligible, please go out and vote. Voting is really important. We've been doing a lot of civic engagement work in Richmond Hill, particularly at the corner of Lefferts and Liberty, outside of Tropical Isle. Shout out to Tropical Isle. They're always welcoming us there. Danny, the owner of Tropical Isle, is amazing. We've also been doing this a lot, particularly at our food justice work. We've been doing voter registration at our food pantry. We've also been doing this work in Soundview, Castle Hill, and Wakefield in the Bronx. These are all Caribbean-centric neighborhoods that have a high population of Afro-Indo-Caribbean people, South Asian people, Latinx people, immigrant folks, right? Black and brown
Right.
communities. And it's really important for us to exercise our power, particularly our electoral power, to build power in New York. And I hear all the time that folks say, folks in Little Guyana don't vote. And that's not true. Our community turn out, our community vote. The issue that we have is some of the district lines are not drawn in a way to amplify our votes, right? To amplify our voices. And for the past 3 years, we have been doing a lot of redistricting work to make sure that we can get fair maps to elect a candidate of our choice. And that work continues. I think I do have some graphics that Asif could potentially put up around the Mash Up the Vote campaigns. So these are just some of the graphics that the organization put out year round that we do outreach with. This is our Mash Up the Vote campaign graphics. It has the June 25th primary date on it. And on the back of this same graphic, which is something we use for marketing, it has all the information about the primary election. And the next image is also how we show how we do civic engagement work, and we couple civic engagement work, particularly with our food justice program. So our food justice program continues in Flatbush, Brooklyn, and every single month we have a pantry in Flatbush. We actually have one coming out this Saturday, and as you can see, as we serve a community culturally responsive groceries and food and make sure we do this with love and dignity, we also educate them about any type of elections coming up.
Wow. Amazing work. Now, are we showing a video at this point, Mo?
No, I don't
No.
think so.
Okay. Now, Tiffany, you recently organized a successful Love on Us event with over 150 people present. Um, Tell us about it.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned that. I love that. So, for folks that don't know, March 31st is known as Transgender Day of Visibility. And, my unit, I told Mo and I had a conversation, and we were like thinking, what does the event look like for it? What is happening? And we were like, listen, we have to go big. We have to do something that is really great. And
Okay.
one thing Mohammed is, he might start crying, so I'm gonna like still give him his props. But one thing with Mohammed is that he makes me push the limit, like push my limits. He makes me think beyond my thinking. So he's like, Tiffany, you have to think beyond. You have to go. And I was like, you know what, Mo, community has been suffering. We've seen all these bills, all these legislations, and we haven't really like healed. We haven't like found a place where we could heal, where we could find love, where we can just be accepted and have fun and also benefit from amazing things. So Love on Us was birthed, and we Mo and I work great together. So I sat there and we were like, let's have Love on Us. And it became this whole annual event. I will say it's happening again next year and every year after that. So it's an annual event. And you know, when I had to do this event, I was beyond excited. I was so glad that community could benefit from what we had at this event. So the event was coined Love on Us. It was a healing, health, wellness resource fair. And having this event was so beautiful. I also hosted, which is like me putting on a hosting.
Wow.
And I was the hostess with the mostess. And I also had an amazing co-host. But we had such an amazing fun time, and also we benefited and community benefited. We had Out My Closet. Shout out to Out My Closet for coming and giving community free clothing. We had like amazing tops and jeans and shoes.
Wow.
We also had so many people table at the resource fair. Like community benefited from immigration services, from housing resources, from health resources, mental health resources too, because that's something that we don't talk about as a community,
No.
especially a Caribbean community, because we don't see therapists. So mental health resources. And we also had amazing food. We love to throw down with a good
Course.
fried rice, and we had some nice jerk chicken. So we had like amazing Caribbean food. And we also had wonderful music, of course, Caribbean music. We had a song bath that welcomed community into the space. So look at it this way, Shameeza. I want you to picture it. At the beginning, we had an amazing resource fair. And all of this was held at the Jamaica Center for Arts and Learning. Shout out to J. Cal for giving us that space. So we had a resource fair in the morning, in the first half, and then we had an amazing program that had a song bath to welcome you, to cleanse the space, to invite that healing into the space. Then we had performances. Then we had an intergenerational panel with amazing trans icons and activists, people that have been doing this work before me. I kid you not, when folks saw the lineup, they're like, how did Tiffany get these people? And that's what I talk about with the networking. Like, they love me and they love the work I've been doing. That I could call them right now and be like, hey, I have an event. I would love for you to be there. Be like, we'll be there for you, Tiff. So it was amazing that they came. We also had we also had the governor's LGBTQ plus person, the coordinator there that handles all of the LGBTQ plus affairs, came all the way from Albany. Her name is Chanel Lopez. Shout outs to her. She gave us amazing proclamations. Mohamed has the really big one. And the event was so amazing. And just like you mentioned, 150 plus people, which was magnificent. We also gave away gift cards. Like folks, first 50 people benefited from gift cards. Like there was so much things for community. And honestly, I just was so excited that community could have benefited from this. And shout outs to some of the amazing people that sponsored this event, especially Con Edison, who has been doing a lot of great work for our community.
Yeah, I think we have a video. We have a highlight video.
We have a video.
We have a video.
I just
welcome all of you to our TDUV 2024 Trans Day of Visibility. All right. So, Caribbean Equality Project is bringing together trans icons, leaders, and trailblazers for a conversation on community healing, self-care, and empowering our communities with tools and insights to fight dangerous and harmful anti-trans legislation.
It is an honor to be your moderator tonight. It is an honor to give back in the way that I can, because without you, I wouldn't be here. And without your leadership, a lot of us wouldn't be here.
We're really glad to support Caribbean Equality Project and also the Trans Justice Unit specifically. And thank you all for having us and allowing us in the space to be able to experience all these events.
When I saw that the lineup for the panels, I was like, oh, wait a second. I got to do something special for each and one of them because they are amazing people.
Hi, I'm Kyan Dorshow, the founder of Glitz Inc.
I have the great honor and privilege of serving as executive director of the New Pride Agenda, which, for those who don't know, is a statewide LGBTQ education and advocacy nonprofit.
I started my organization because I got tired of working for organizations that wasn't centering the lives of Black trans women. I've been doing this work since 2008 and started to open up my own organization and focus on sex workers and helping our community the way we're supposed to be.
To come home and to work in the same city that held me captive for 14 years just because I was trans and trying to survive. I now work to ensure that no other trans person have to feel those same injustices.
And I also want to thank everybody for being present in this space, right? We see you, we're together, we're in community. These are moments that are crucial for all of us. I want you all to also clap for you for showing up today, for being here in community.
To grab this mic and be visible the way we are could cost us our very lives.
Know that mental health and self-care is really important in community work. I know why I'm doing this, and I just try to remind myself and try to encourage others to remind ourselves why we got into this work and what it's really all about.
I just needed it for me so I could come back here and still do the work and still be strong.
Because what we have to do is have inner peace, right? And blend within our community.
By thanking all of our community advocates, all the folks that you walked in and you saw. This program is led by trans people for trans and queer immigrants in New York City.
Amazing.
You're back.
Amazing.
Amazing. And I was looking at that and I'm thinking what a great leader Mo is, and so is Tiffany. Thank you guys so much. Olivia, the Caribbean Equality Project was one of our local community-based organizations that did legislative advocacy to make Diwali an official public school holiday last year. And you were part of that advocacy. Tell us about it and what it means to you.
Hey y'all. First off, I want to thank Tiffany for all the work she does. She is an amazing leader. Working under her leadership has been so inspiring for me as a brown Indo-Caribbean transgender woman. That event, I was one of the CAs at that event, and to watch Tiffany in her full power time and time again with her full leadership has brought us to a place where 150 people and whoever was live streaming it touched so many lives. So thank you, Tiffany. And I would always continue to work under your leadership. You are an amazing woman, amazing black trans woman. Thank you so much for your leadership. It really makes a difference and it moves us forward, honestly. And it creates space for so many trans people and gives so many other trans people visibility. So thank you. Thank you so much. As an Indo-Caribbean trans woman, I am of Hindu faith. I grew up in Guyana, not having space to express myself within the religious community. Many times I would remember, and I remember this just the other day, I would go to temple spaces and I would sit in the back and I would cry myself to know that I want to practice this religion. I want to be a part. I am a part of this religion, and I'm being neglected and rejected by community members within the temple space. I'm being talked about. I'm being discriminated in the temple space. I would go and I would just sit on the back and I would cry myself and just leave because I know I'm not welcome I'm not welcome there. So coming to New York City and starting this whole new life as Olivia Valwaa has really, it's like a rebirth. It's like a rebirth for myself. And I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna celebrate all the holidays. I'm gonna advocate for all the holidays. And Diwali is a big holiday for us Hindus. It's a huge holiday. And to see the Hindu kids having to go to school on Diwali day, it's a culture for the Hindus to really celebrate Diwali and really have like that day off. So having to like have the kids go to school on that day was very heartbreaking. So that really pushed my drive to like really fight for this. And like Tiffany just said, when we go to Albany, people know us, legislators know us, these elected officials, they know us because they see us time and time again come in to advocate for something bigger and better. And they're like, "Oh, you're that girl from CEP," and I'm like, "Yeah, I'm that girl from CEP. Yes, yes." This was when Kathy Hochul, they signed the bill. I can't remember what event was this at, but yeah, that was
Wow.
a beautiful picture. Yeah, so we continue to show up in space and to advocate for the good and the better. As a Hindu trans woman of Indo-Caribbean descent, I take full pride in what I do and celebrate in my religion. So this means the world to me to be a part of.
Congratulations. And, it is awesome to watch the work that each and every one of you are doing. Tiffany, Mo, you, it's just amazing to watch your work and your advocacy. It's just, for me, looking at it, bring tears to my eyes to just see the work that you guys are doing, the fight, the struggles, the challenges, and you're doing it with a big smile on your face, knowing that it will be okay at the end of the day. So thank you guys. I think at this point we will show a video.
Do
All
we
right,
have
so we will move on now. Tiffany, actually, Caribbean Equality Project was recently involved in the 2024 Richmond Hill Pride Flag raising ceremony. What does it mean to see the Pride flag waving in Richmond Hill? And I'll ask all of you guys to give us your little feedback on it. Mo, you want to start us off?
Yeah, sure. So I want to say raising the pride flag in Richmond Hill in itself is historic. It's never been done, right?
Right.
And this pride flag start raising started 2 years ago, particularly by the Lions Club. Um, Unfortunately, when it was raised initially, it did not involve any of the LGBTQ plus organizations in Richmond Hill, Queens. They are actually two LGBTQ led organizations in Richmond Hill. Caribbean Equality Project is one of them, and there's an organization called Glitz that is trans led by a trans Trinidadian woman by the name of Kayan Dora Show. But Richmond Hill also has many grassroots organizations with LGBTQ leadership, such as the Jahaji Sisters, South Queens Women's March, Chaya. These are all Ummah, the United Madrasi Association. These are all organizations that either have LGBTQ members that they serve and represent, or they have volunteers and leaders of these organizations that are LGBTQ. So when you think of a pride flag, we know the history behind the pride flag. That pride flag, we have been fighting for 55 years in New York, particularly New York City, for LGBTQ visibility and, and equality. I think we're beyond the concept of acceptance. We're queer people. We don't need anyone to accept us. What's important is for us to accept ourselves. What we do need is equal rights. What we do need is access to resources so we can live and be safe. And unfortunately, that pride flag did not include us again last year. This year, there were a lot of conversations behind the scene for us to do it in a collaborative process. And we did that. For 3 weeks, we met. All of the organizations I just named, Caribbean Equality Project, Zamandari, led by Zaman. Also, special shout out to Zaman because today is also his birthday. So special
Yes, happy
Happy birthday.
birthday!
and
Happy birthday, Zaman!
Zaman of Zamandari, the Lions, the Richmond Hill South Ocean Park Lions Club, the United Madrasi Association, Chaya, Jahaji Sisters, South Queens Women's March. These are all organizations that came together and said we're going to do it the right way this year. And we created a really beautiful program. We had cultural dancers, we had songs, we had drag performances, we had remarks from different elected officials, all that were scheduled for Friday, June 14th. And for folks who live in Richmond Hill, who live in New York City, who know it poured. It poured on Friday, June 14th. And we have a weather, and we started looking at the weather, and behind the scenes we ultimately had to come to the decision to move the pride flag raising to Saturday, June 15th. Unfortunately, when we arrived on Saturday morning at the corner of Liberty Avenue and 133rd Street, right in front of Sybil's, the pride flag was already raised. And I was really shocked. Not only was I shocked, but I was also mostly disappointed. And I also felt a lot of betrayal by the Richmond Hill South Ozone Park Lions Club because they had raised the flag without us the night before. Not only did they raise the flag without all of the co sponsors, all of the partners, and more importantly, the LGBTQ community, they hung the flag incorrectly. They hung the pride flag upside down. And this shows the performativity and the lack of LGBTQ history and LGBTQ cultural competency that this organization has. Um, but as LGBTQ people, we are resilient and we always find a way to make the best of a situation. And that situation became really complicated because a leader of the Richmond Hill and South Ozone Park Lions Club called the police on us, lied to the NYPD, and said there is a group coming to demonstrate to take the pride flag down and that we were not allowed at the Richmond Hill Triangle. Now, if you know your LGBTQ history, you know that we do not have the best relationship with the NYPD. 55 years ago at the Stonewall Inn in Manhattan, the police raided a gay club and arrested so many LGBTQ people, including black trans women. In Richmond Hill, we had our own Stonewall moment in 2013 when my brother, my partner, and I were attacked in Richmond Hill. And from that day to now, we have been visible, we have been speaking out, and we have been fighting back. But what continues to happen in Richmond Hill is leaders, people in position of power, they continue to abuse that power. They continue to exhibit homophobia, and they continue to perpetuate this cycle of violence and harm against our bodies. And when you call the NYPD on a group of LGBTQ people that are coming to celebrate Pride, and you are labeling us as the aggressors, you're putting our lives in danger. And that's exactly what happened on Saturday in Richmond Hill. It took us about an hour and a half to negotiate with the NYPD the right to be there because the leader of the Lions Club did not update the permit. So we technically had no permit. The permit was for Friday. And that was the challenge that we had that day of. Luckily, we had invited Assembly Member Khalil Anderson, and Khalil showed up just in time, who spoke with the NYPD, and we were ultimately given the approval. And Shameeza, we had such a beautiful program. We had speakers from all of our different co-sponsors. We had performances. We had a beautiful Tassa group. Shout out to Keeping It Classic Tassa group, who has been a part of our work for some time now. And we had the pride flag raising ceremony and celebration that our community deserved. And we did that by ourselves. Tiffany and Olivia both spoke at the event, and Olivia also performed at the event. So I want to pass it to them
Uh,
to share their experience from that event. Olivia,
Olivia.
yeah.
Most said it all. It's very disheartening, and it's. I feel like it's an injustice and total disrespect to our community. First of all, you're having this flag raising 2 consecutive years. This is the third year, and not inviting LGBTQ members or organization. That is bizarre to me, honestly. And second of all, lying to the police about we're gonna come and destroy public property, that is wild. Like I I was so emotional that day when I was we Zaman and Sundari, the Indian goddess, and I was supposed to perform at the event. So Sundari came, she came to pick me up, and she's like, the flag was hung already. I'm like, what? The flag is hung already, and we are gonna go do this flag raising ceremony. Yo, I just put on my bangles really fast, my earrings, and we were out the door. When we got there and I saw that flag, I'm like, this is total disrespect, honestly. Towards our community. But thankfully with Mo leadership, I always tell Mo, you're fearless. You lead us fearlessly and we always come out successful. So thank you, Mo. Your leadership is amazing. Like that day I saw you in action, just speaking with police officers, elected officials, um, community members, everyone, just trying to calm the situation because obviously people were frustrated. People showed up for a flag raising ceremony and then saw a flag that's hung incorrectly. That pride flag that the Lions Club hung that day meant nothing to us. Nothing to us because first of all, you blatantly lied to the police and then disrespect us and then hung the pride flag incorrectly. It's crazy, honestly. Like I cannot begin to fathom. Recently, just last week, I think, one of the businesses down on Liberty Avenue asked the Indian goddess, Sundari, and myself to install a pride flag for them. And that business is Greenleaf Bistro on Liberty Avenue, 126th Street. Shout out to Greenleaf Bistro. Thank you so, so much for such inclusion and such acceptance. If more of the businesses would do that in Richmond Hill that we support, this community would be such a thriving and beautiful community, honestly. Shout out to Greenleaf Bistro. Thank you so much.
Well said. Tiffany?
Yeah, I just want to say, expressing the same sentiments everyone expressed. You know, I've never, even Olivia can tell you, we've never been a part of any pride flag raising ceremony at all. Not even in our own home countries, not even in Guyana. So for you to come here and I want to tell everyone, like, when we see the United States, when we see the US, we're like, oh, inclusion, diversity, let's go. But when you get here, it's something different. And the part that hurts the most is that it's your own people, your own community that is constantly still attacking you, that is constantly treating you as if we're not the same. And I was honestly excited that we were invited to the table, but also still felt very sad because Mohamed knows, like around 2021, I received so many hate messages from these folks over when they had that flag raising ceremony that time. So many hate messages. And this time I was a little uncomfortable, but I was also still excited to be brought to the table to, come to a conversation and actually, hear the apologies and also express how we felt about the situation. And the fact that we were given control, because I want to tell people that we were given control, we planned that thing. Everything we did it. We bought a flag, we created a flyer, we created everything. The only thing they were responsible to get for us was permits. We did all of the hard root groundwork because that's what we do as an organization. And that's what we did as a collated unit. And to get there, I remember, and I kid you not, I had a conversation with Mohammed the night before. My mom's like, "Girl, I hope we don't go there and see this flag." And we got there. Yeah, Yeah, we had that convo. We got there. I saw the flag.
You said that. Oh my goodness.
Was ringing Mohammed's phone. I'm like, Mohammed. Mohammed was answering me because I didn't know that Mohammed was actually dealing with the police. When I got there, I was like, Mohammed, what's really happening here? And I felt so upset. I felt so frustrated, so annoyed that we put in all of this work. And I know the weather was not on our side, but we still put in all of this work, and that's what we do as an org. We pivot and we find ways to work around situations. And that's what we did that day. We worked around the police. We worked around that negative remark that was given that, oh, we're coming to do a demonstration and touch the flag. We worked around that and we showed them that we didn't care about your flag rig. We didn't care what you did there. But we still used that moment to protest. That wasn't just a flag raising for us. That was a protest because that's what pride is. And many of us has forgotten that. Pride will always be a protest. and we will always continue to protest against the attacks on our bodies. We are human beings, and we've just been. Uh, we all just want this acceptance. But like Mohammed mentioned, you have to have that self acceptance now. Don't care for anyone to accept you anymore. But we had that amazing program, and we showed up and showed out as a community, and we had our own flag raising, okay? Because our flag looked way better. And it wasn't hung incorrectly. We knew how to hung it. So that's what I'm saying. Like, I was just frustrated, and to know that this is my people, my Guyanese people, the people that I'm so proud to tell everyone I'm from Guyana. And the fact that it's happening in Richmond Hill, that was the best moment for us because this is our community. But we will say that for the next time, we know what to do. But that's just how I felt and how we felt as a community at that flag raising.
Yeah, and I think, Shamiza, thank you for allowing us to say this because oftentimes when injustice happens in Richmond Hill and South Ozone Park and just New York, particularly within our Caribbean community, there's no accountability. I find that leaders want to talk about peace and unity. There is no peace, there is no unity without justice and accountability. And that is what we have to continue advocating for. And I love my Guyanese community. I'm Guyanese. I'm a proud Indo Caribbean queer Muslim immigrant. I hold these intersectional identities really proudly. But I always say that sometimes our Caribbean people, we bring our food, we bring our culture, we bring our music, we bring our traditions to the US, to New York City, and they're all thriving. But some of us have also brought our homophobia with us.
Mhm.
And that homophobia is also thriving in Richmond Hill. But as Tiffany said, and I've always said, we have always existed. We continue to live pridefully and we will not be erased. And what happened on Saturday in Richmond Hill will never ever happen again because we will make sure that justice is served.
Mhm.
Wow. And we have a video.
We have some photos.
We have some
Y'all,
photos from
look at
that
his
event.
look at his beautiful photos. We had
Yes.
over 50 people that showed up to our Pride
Very
flag
nice.
raising. And these are just some of you. Yeah, this is a beautiful photo that we
Beautiful.
took towards the very end. There were some folks who had to go at this point. But this is what inclusion looks like. This is what diversity looks like. This is what celebrating pride and raising a pride flag in Richmond Hill should have looked like. But
Mhm.
we did it and we made sure that our community was present to experience that. And really shout out to all of our partners that came and spoke so powerfully and that continues to do this work with us as well in solidarity.
Wow. Wow. Amazing. Now, Tiffany, since it's Pride Month and I know Caribbean Equality Project is preparing to participate in the New York City Pride March on Sunday, June 30th, tell us what the Trans Justice Unit has planned for the rest of the month.
All right, listen. Thank you so much, Shameeza, for letting me explain what my unit is doing. So the Trans Justice Unit, we are actually having an amazing event. It's a housing is a human right. We have a great flyer too. I'm sure we're going to show it in a few. But
Yes.
housing is a human right. It's a Know Your Rights event on immigration, housing, and healthcare. And I just want to mention that housing right now in New York City, it's a premium. And I say it's a premium because there's so many things happening when it comes to housing, especially housing stability. I want to say stability because we have many folks that would have benefited from a housing voucher, which the city gives, but they have these vouchers, but they can't get a place to rent because of the homophobia, because of the transphobia, because of the discrimination that we face as a community. And you already waiting this long to get these housing vouchers, but then it's even a long way to get a place to use the voucher. And
Right.
this Know Your Rights discussion, it will happen on the 25th of June, which is Tuesday, and I'm so excited for it. We love a resource fair, so we're gonna have a resource fair component. We're gonna have a panel discussion. We're gonna have performances, and we will have really nice dinner, Caribbean food, of course. And it will happen at Aperture in Jackson Heights. Aperture, I will say, is an amazing community partner who have been doing a lot of work, especially for trans folks when it comes to healthcare. And we want community to benefit from some of these informations and resources, especially since Queens Legal Services will actually be doing an amazing presentation on housing, tenant rights, and all that stuff. We need to know that as a community, and Queens Legal Services will be giving us the tools that we need so that we can know that we have rights as well. Because a lot of folks believe that because we're undocumented, we have no rights. We do have rights, and that's why I want community to come and benefit from this amazing event. One thing with the Trans Justice Unit, we are all, again, we are building people, we are building community, and we want them to benefit from everything that we have to offer. We will also have interpretation because we have realized that so many of our folks who do not speak English do come to our events and they would love to benefit as well. We will have someone there that will be translating into Spanish, and shout outs to that person that's going to do that for us. And this is what community looks like, and this is what trans leadership looks like.
Wow, beautifully said. Beautifully said. Now, Mo, is there anything you'd like to add to what Tiffany just said?
No, I think we've been doing this work for 9 years now, and I've been living in Richmond Hill for over 20 years. I'm a proud homeowner. I'm a voter. I'm an advocate. I pay my taxes, and it's really at this stage of Caribbean Equality Project's activism, we are not going to be silent about issues that are impacting our communities. We are in need of support, like you, Shameeza, who continues to welcome us on your program to highlight the organization during Pride Month. But we live pridefully every single day. Our community members walk the streets of Richmond Hill and they continue to experience homophobia, transphobia. We continue to hear this cultural hate speech. We go to the local businesses and we support the local businesses. We buy our dal and roti and our curry and rice from all the different restaurants. We buy all of our Indian wear from Richmond Hill. We buy all of our groceries from Richmond Hill. We directly spend our queer and trans earned dollars right in our community. And the only thing that we're asking for is to be treated equally.
Mm-hmm.
That's why the performative Richmond Hill Pride flag that's been raised for the past 3 years continues to be an issue. We want our flag to be raised. We're so proud of that flag. We have fought very hard. Even today, if you walk down Richmond Hill just holding that pride flag, you will experience homophobia. And to have it wave in Richmond Hill means a lot to us, but it also needs to include the LGBTQ community. And that is what we're fighting for. If you raise that flag without us, don't tell us you're doing us a favor. You're not,
No.
because you're excluding us.
Yeah.
I want to close by highlighting the Pagua Parade. This year, we have been participating in the Pagua Parade since 2016. And that is also a space that we have fought to be a part of, right? We have had to do activism work and behind the scenes work to even be included as an organization. And in 2019, Caribbean Equality Project founded what is now known as the Pagua Social Justice Collective, and we participated again in the Pagua Parade this year. We brought our community partners from Chaya, CDC, Jahaji Sisters, South Queens Women's March. We had over about 150 people that marched with our Pagua Social Justice Collective in the Pagua Parade this year. Now,
Wow.
all of us were advocating for gender justice, um, really speaking out against perpetrators of sexual violence, but also really advocating for the inclusion of LGBTQ people. And I want to close by sharing a video from the Pagua Social Justice Collective participation in this year Pagua Parade, because this is the type of social justice activism that exists in Richmond Hill, and it also deserves to be celebrated and be seen.
Today, at the 36th Annual Pagwa Parade, we are celebrating 5 years of our Pagwa Social Justice Collective.
All of Jahadi Sisters' work is about shifting culture and creating a world where survivors of gender-based violence are thriving and they're safe and they're seen in their dignity and their power.
And so we are here to say human rights and social justice are present today in Richmond Hill.
God or the divinity exists equally and identically in every single one of us.
We believe it's so important to create space for survivors in our community and create that healing energy.
It's really great to be here again with our partners. Shout out to Caribbean Equality Project for organizing this wonderful collective. And happy Pagwa.
Y'all, we are at the end of the 36th Annual Pagwa Parade. We're here in Smoky Park. We had the largest turnout this year. Over 150 people joined the Pagwa Social Justice Collective to advocate for survivors' rights, to advocate for workers' rights, to advocate for immigrants and LGBTQ people, to advocate for reproductive justice. This is the community that I'm proud of, that I'm proud to live in. This is the community I fight for every single day in New York City and New York State. This is Richmond Hill, Lil Gayata. Happy Holi, everyone.
Tonight, story that I found that many of us from the West Indian community can identify with or heard a similar story shared. And this story is from Harma Hartouni. He's an author. When I was growing up as an American kid living in Iran, I always knew something was different about me, but I didn't dare to say it out loud. I was attracted to other boys. People definitely had their suspicions. I was generally less soccer and more dance. I was teased and bullied throughout my childhood, and I could never let my guard down. Even at home, Iran is not accepting of LGBTQ people, and it's very dangerous to be gay in Iran. But as they say, a mother always knows, and mine did. She was just in denial. There was always a giant rainbow colored elephant in my room. Eventually, after we moved to the US, where being gay was safer than in Iran, I realized that I didn't have to lie about who I was. So I came out to my mom. After telling her, she locked herself in her apartment and threatened suicide unless I stopped being gay. Later, she tried to enroll me in conversion therapy. There was always a there was always a giant rainbow elephant in the room. Things came to a head when she called into the most popular Armenian radio show in LA, asking for advice on having a gay son. Though it was anonymous, she gave so much detail about me. I had been outed on our entire tight knit Armenian community by morning. Thanks for doing the legwork, Mom. My mom's struggle to accept me was rooted in fear. She feared judgment from our community, but more than anything, she feared for my safety and the challenges I will face as a gay man. I can't blame her. I had the same fears. After all, it took me the first 21 years to accept myself. How could I expect it to be instant for my family? So, my advice to any parent trying to navigate allyship for their LGBTQ child is this: If you want a glittery gold star, lean into your love, not your fear. I guarantee your kids is scared too. I will ask each and every one of you for your closing remarks.
y'all want to start?
You could go, Olivia.
First off, I just want to thank you so much, Shameeza. Being here for the first time, really means a lot to me. Thank you so, so much. And especially in Pride Month, this is very, historic and, visibility matters. Being visible, showing up in your space, in your true color means a lot because you never know who you can inspire. And that's my story. I never intended to make a huge impact on community. All I wanted to do was to live my life. And I've seen living my life day to day here in Richmond Hill, Queens. I've seen how impactful my presence is. I've gotten so many feedbacks, and I noticed that I'm making an impact and my visibility speaks volume within the community and beyond. So I will continue to be visible, not only for myself, but my entire Indo-Caribbean community here in Queens. And as we say at Caribbean Equality Project, our theme this year for Pride 2024 is Live Pridefully, We Will Not Be Erased. Thank you.
Well said, Olivia. And yes, please continue to shine. We need your visibility in the community.
Shameeza, I want to thank you again. I want to thank you for having, this Black trans girl on your program. And I just want to let everyone know that, this is when we talk about visibility, this is what visibility looks like. And, look at it this way. I came all the way from Guyana. I've experienced so much hate, everything from my family. I came here, I had to find myself. And people don't understand like mentally what that looks like for us as a community. And me finding my true authentic self, I'm proud that I'm Tiffany Jade Monroe. I'm proud to be a Black trans woman who is biracial, who is half Indo, half Afro. And I never really leaned into my Indo side because in Guyana there's so much racism, I will say. And I've heard so many things from families and so forth. It didn't even allow me to express that side of myself more. But now I'm here, I want to express and I want to showcase that I'm also an Indo person that is of Caribbean descent, and I am an Afro person as well. And the work that I do right now speaks so many volumes. To know that a Black undocumented trans woman was just honored by New York City and state, so what, as one of the 50 LGBTQ plus activists here, it speaks so much volumes, and it shows that the work that I am doing definitely is reaching places and spaces. And I will continue to advocate for community. I will continue to stand up for community, and I will continue to do this work for my Black and brown trans folks, and also all trans people and all LGBTQ plus people that are here, especially those coming from the Caribbean that are undocumented. And just like Olivia said, we have that one mantra that we're using. We will continue to live pridefully because we have always existed, and our continued existence will be resistance. Okay? So thank you so much again, Shameeza, for having us. And thanks to all the folks that are sending us so much love in the comment section. Like, shout out to all of you.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, Tiffany.
Shameeza, I want to say visibility is really important to our community, but also safety is really important to our community. And you're doing both tonight. You are creating a space for us to be able to uplift Caribbean Equality Project's work, for Tiffany and Olivia, trans people, trans leaders in our community to be seen and heard and celebrated. And you're creating that space for them as well. And for everyone that's watching and listening to this program, if you are an LGBTQ person, if you are a person of Caribbean descent, just know that you are loved and you are valued every single day. And every single time you step out, whatever armor you have to put on so you can get back home, you do that because our survival matters. And every single time you experience any type of injustice, you reach out to Caribbean Equality Project. We are on Facebook, we are on Instagram, we are on X, formerly Twitter, or go to CaribbeanEqualityProject.org. This is the work that we do. Um, there was a part of there was a period in my life where I didn't want to come out. I was 22 years old and I left my parents' house because I didn't know how to tell my very traditional Muslim parents that their oldest child was gay. And to be honest, I also didn't know what that meant for myself. I had to accept me and be comfortable and be proud of who I am before I was able to share that with anyone. So, this journey that many of us are on to be our authentic self, to live our truth, it can be challenging, but it's worth that. That struggle is worth it. Um, just last year, we've lost folks in Guyana to suicide. I want to uplift a young queer singer artist that we lost last year. His name is Josiah Robinson. He goes by John T. Um, Josiah Robinson was murdered on June 18th in Grenada. It's been a year since he was killed, and we, as an organization, was able to support his mother, Lindra Johnson. I'm sorry, Lindra Robinson, to fight for justice for her son. No parent should have to lose a child because of homophobia. And no parent and no LGBTQ individual in Queens, New York, in Richmond Hill should have to experience homophobia for simply existing. I want to close by thanking you again. I want to encourage my community to continue to live pridefully. Happy Pride Month. Happy Caribbean American Heritage Month. These are all identities we hold so close to our hearts. And this is the month we get to celebrate it. But we know that so many of you live pridefully every single day. And I want to call also on our businesses, our business owners. You also play a role in what safety looks like. Hire LGBTQ people. We deserve to have safe and affirming jobs. And to landlords and homeowners that are renting your homes, rent your homes to LGBTQ people. We also deserve safe housing. Um, we all play a role in what keeping each other safe looks like. And but part of that is also being able to tell our stories. And Shamiza, your role tonight is to help an LGBTQ organization and activists tell their story and to create visibility. And you have done that for 4 consecutive years. So thank you so much.
Thank you. I do want to say a special thank you to all of our viewers for being kind and respectful and listening and, being here for this hour plus show so that, we can learn and we can hear the purpose. All right. Well, thank you guys so much for being here this evening. It is truly a pleasure to host you, and I can't wait for next year during Pride Month for us to do this again. Until next time, be you, live with a purpose, and live pridefully. Good night, everyone.
Happy Juneteenth, y'all.
Happy
Happy
Juneteenth.
Pride.
Happy.
Bye.